Welcome to episode 2 of Girl Math. I am so pleased with the first episode of the feedback and stuff, and just talking to you guys and getting to know some new faces, and hopefully you've returned to this next episode. Today, so valuable, I think, to talk about this. I'm going to call this episode something along the lines of embracing the present and navigating the never enough, in quotations, crisis in your 20s. I feel like there's this massive pressure for us in our 20s to be living our best life. We're in our prime era. We need to be making all these memories and all of this. And I just think there's a massive thing of I'm not doing enough. I'm feeling lost. I'm whatever. So let's chat about it today because it's a huge topic. Let's start off with the pressure to create memories. So in your 20s becomes a massive wave of pressure to be doing the most. Because supposedly, right, these are the best years of your life. So let's look at what defines the best years of your life for you personally. It can be small, it can be big, whatever you feel. It could be the fact that you're in your prime era of looking really good and you want to utilize looking really good. I don't think it's spoken about enough, really. You're going to regret when you're older looking back and thinking, why did I pick myself apart so much when I looked like that? Like, I looked so good back then. You're going to be old, wrinkly, a little bit chubby probably, and saggy. But why are you pressuring yourself, you know? Like, life is too short to be caring about that spot on your forehead or the nose that you have. You're born with it. Why don't you just embrace it? Hey, like, everyone's different. You don't want to look the same as Bella Hadid. You don't want to be the same. Like, she's beautiful, yeah, don't get me wrong, but you don't want to look the exact same. Like, where's the identity in that? Do you know what I mean? Find your own identity, I think, is very important. Anyway, I went a bit off topic there. But mindful living. So this is a huge one. You want to be mindful of how you live your life every single day. This can be from the people you hang around with, to the things that you tell yourself, to the things that you do, and like the way you receive criticism, everything. It can be everything. I think for me personally, only since I've moved out away from my parents have I valued time in general a lot more. So I won't necessarily have to do it as much as I used to, but something that helped me really understand the time that I have on this earth would be looking at videos that would inspire me, or people that have less than me, or whatever it is, and it would really put life in perspective for you. I think I'm going to try and list a few linked below if you're watching on YouTube, of inspirational videos and stuff. I think it's so important for us to remind ourselves that we're on this earth not for that long. And why are you putting up with that shitty relationship? Why are you putting up with that shitty friendship? Like, life is too short for that bullshit. Life is too short to be surrounded by people that don't get you, that don't understand you, that don't support you, that don't get your vision. You're best off being alone, honestly. You're best off being by yourself. Anyways, mindful living, super important. An example would be, look at a video online of old people saying what they regret the most about their young life and what they wish they did. That's a really good one because you'll put stuff in perspective then. And I think ever since I saw this video of these old ladies saying how they wish they didn't pick themselves apart when they were younger because they look back and they think, oh my God, I was beautiful, really put it into perspective for me. And I never really pick myself apart as much anymore. It's difficult, I still do, but I'm nowhere near as like obsessive over what I'm eating and how I'm looking and whatever it is and how skinny I want to be. That is dissipating slowly because I'm putting it into perspective and realizing that life is too short to be worrying about that kind of stuff. And I know that's so cliche, but you do not want to regret the best years of your life looking back and thinking all I did was complain. Do you know what's crazy? I saw this video the other day and it was saying you never knew when the last time that you played in the playground was with your friends. And it really got me thinking last night. It got me thinking so much that I got a bit upset. I was really nostalgic. I got a bit upset and I messaged my friend. I was like, do you remember the days where, you know, we would all have the sesh around your house like every weekend, and we'd always hang out every weekend, like all of us, all the girls, and like have girls' night and stuff. Now I look back and I'm like, when was the last night that we had that? When was the last time we decided this is our last sesh? We didn't. It just disappeared. Like, that to me is crazy, that life can just flick like that and all of a sudden you don't have that anymore. So I reached out to them and they were like, you're so right, like we need to do another pizza night, or we need to do something, because we haven't. But that's life, I guess. Like, I've moved to London, some people have moved away to uni, some people have just come back from uni. Like, we're all just trying to gauge and navigate our 20s. But yeah, I just thought that was really sad, to be honest, because you don't realise you're in your best years of your life until they've passed. I think that's a super scary thought, because you're always wishing time away, you're always wishing for the good days to come and all this stuff. But when you look back, obviously I know it's easy to remember the good times only, but you look back and you think, God, I had no responsibilities then, and I was worried about what fucking thing he thinks of me. I really want to emphasise the fact that you are in your best years of your life now, and it might not feel like it from day to day, but it's all about mindset. And I know shitty things can happen to good people, and I get that, and I get that you might not be in the best years of your life, but realise that life is short and people always have it worse. Other people always have it worse than you, and that will help you bring gratitude to your life. Gratitude is super important. I'll write in my journal and I'll write a to-do list. I won't always complete that to-do list, but next to it I have achievements. Now, every achievement I put down, I have at least one achievement a day. My last to-do list, this is going to sound crazy: visit Penthouse, work on dissertation question, post this podcast, basically. Visit Penthouse. That sounds crazy. Even that, I'm so grateful that I could visit a penthouse. Do you know what I mean? Not to live in, but basically I'm doing a music video, cut long story short, and I needed to find a location. But anyway, my achievement was location bagged. That's an achievement for me. What are the other achievements? There's like silly little ones, really. Okay, my to-do list on a Wednesday was meet my friends, and then my achievement was I had a great time with my school friends. It's just simple things, and then after that I'll just write what I'm grateful for and my goals and whatever floats my boat on that day, really. So that for me has really made me feel like I won the world. Like, I did not let the world define me. That's also something I'm going to get into later, by the way, because it's a huge mindset thing to think about. Going back to what I said earlier of, you know, the best years of your life, you're in your prime years, and you don't really realise you're in your best years of your life until they've passed. All I'm going to say is stop waiting for the best years of your life, because they're now, and you can't wait around for life to come at you. You have to tackle it. Nothing is going to come and fall into your lap. Those people that you want to go travel with aren't going to come with you 9 times out of 10. You've got to do it yourself. Like, yeah, you might find those amazing people to do that with, but you can't dictate your life around other people, which is something I'm getting into later as well. But I want to tackle this one by one so you can understand, and like, so it's so clear. And I'm not saying that in a way that's like, so you can understand, but like, I struggle to understand a lot. So I'll give you an example. I know for a fact that I'm living my best life right now because I'm living in London at the age of 22. That to me alone is crazy in this cost of living crisis as well. Not only that, I have pets. I have friends in London. I have the ability to work in this most amazing venue that I get to witness the most crazy things and meet the most insane celebrities and people. And it's just mind-blowing to me. The fact that somewhere I used to come visit, I now work at. Story time, I met Stormzy. Sorry, I could not hold that in. I met Stormzy. This is what's crazy about manifestation and delusion. I knew we would cross paths at one point and people thought I was crazy, and it happened. it happened in a setting where I never thought it would happen, but it happened. You can't wait around for other people to make your dreams happen. You've just got to do it. So moving to London, I came here alone. I knew no one. I was not waiting around. I was sick to death of getting disappointed by other people. And I just thought, you know what? I'm just going to make this life for myself. I can't be arsed anymore. I don't know why I'm waiting around for Tom, Dick and Harry or whatever the names were. I've just got to do it myself. And like, I just built this life for myself. And now I live the most incredible life. And that's how I know I'm living my best life, because I was not waiting around for absolutely anyone, you know? And I'll talk about anxiety a bit later, but my anxiety defined me for the longest time. And I think as soon as I just let go of that connection with my anxiety, so many good things came to me. And I know it's a hard thing to do and a hard thing to grasp, but once you get there, trust me, it's going to be amazing. It's like you're doing so much, but it's never enough. And that's draining. Right, this is some girl math explained, right? In your 20s, it means you want to go out, but you're too anxious to go out. When you're in, all you do is spend time scrolling on TikTok or scrolling on the internet, but you wish you were going out. But when you do go out, you're having a shit time because your anxiety is really shit and you wish you were home and you're always wishing you were somewhere else. So you can never win. And you just want to make the best memories of your life in your 20s and have something to tell your kids, but you can't, because you can't win either way. And it's draining. It's so draining. Anyways, that was a bit of a rant. So I guess a way to conquer this anxiety is, someone once said to me that you can't be grateful and anxious at the same time, which is why I've practiced gratitude a lot. I'll give you a really good example, actually. So let's say I was really anxious to go visit this penthouse because it means that I have to go into central London. I have to get a tube. I have to be social. I have to be out of my comfort zone, all of this stuff, right? And to me, that's nerve-wracking. I hate the tube. I hate everything to do with that. But I told myself, I was like, hang on. I'm visiting a top floor penthouse worth, I don't know how much, on the 55th floor with the whole view of London for my music video that I'm directing is crazy to me. And I was like, I am so grateful for that opportunity. Why am I then making such a big deal of this? Have you ever made a plan in the future and you, leading up to the days, you're like, I'm super nervous for this. I don't want to go. I can't do it. I can't do it. And then it comes to the day and you have a bad stomach or you feel dizzy or whatever it is. I've had this multiple times. Turns out your mind is so powerful that it will literally tell your body to freak out. And that happened to me before I went to go view this penthouse, and I was this close to not going because I was just stuck on the toilet point blank for like ages. And I was like, what is up with me? I haven't eaten anything weird. I have been relatively healthy. Like, what is happening? And it just turns out super anxious, because as soon as I got out the house, like I was fine. Like, well, I wasn't fine actually. I was still panicking, but as soon as I got there, I was actually okay. Which just goes to show, you know, you can't tell yourself that you can't do things, because your body will literally show you. And that's something I said on my last podcast, is your mind will give up before your body does. You can't let the world dictate you. You have to dictate the world. And that's something I will always preach about. You can't let anxiety win, ever, ever. You've got to have that exposure therapy. I try as much as I can to go on those tubes and go out into central London, even though I hate it. Because I know if I do it at least like twice a month, 3 times a month, once a week, whatever it is, I'm refreshing my memory as to saying that it's okay to do these things. Because when you avoid these things, anxiety then builds and it wins and it manifests into you and it becomes a massive deal, and you avoid it. Avoiding is the worst thing for anxiety. You need to just every so often remind yourself it's okay. It's okay. There's nothing bad about this. And then you'll soon just realize that life is too damn short for this stress and worry. But anyways, that was a bit of a side note on anxiety, but it all sort of makes sense. with trying to make memories and the pressure of making memories, because if you do suffer with anxiety, you will understand. Gratitude, embracing the simple moments. I think as you grow older, and if you're like me and you've moved out of home, you will be so grateful for the small things. I could literally cry. So I'm not going to, because this is a podcast. But as I've got older, I have been so much more careful with who I hang out with and my time. And I met up with my old school friends the other day and we had a pizza night. And those things are the things that make me feel at peace, and I feel heard, I feel understood. They're the people that I've grown up with, and it's the small things in life. It really is. Just even making the time for me. I was like, I really appreciate this, guys. And like equally the shoes on the other foot as well. Like I made time for them as well. I've got a fucking busy life at the moment, but I will still make time for my friends because I can understand what that means for them, and stop worrying about making these crazy memories of going out and exploring and jumping off planes and all this stuff that you see online. It's always at the end of the day about who you spend your time with and the way you spend your time and what you do with it. It doesn't matter how extravagant it is. It's just what you actually physically do and what you enjoy, which then goes into passions and hobbies, right? So not absolutely everyone wants to jump out of planes. Not absolutely. You might want to, but then deep down you don't really want to. You just kind of want to do it for the memories and to tell the kids. But your hobby might be baking, and that is a great memory to share and a great skill to share with your kids later down the line. Your passion might be a project where you launch your own business. That's a great memory. That's a great thing to share. Like your business journey, or you have a baking business, whatever it is. I think everyone lives their life a different way. I think in your 20s, there's like at least 3 different types of people. So I'll give you an example. So I have a friend where they just want to settle down and get married and have kids now. I have a friend where they just want to explore the world and be on their own and have that single life and just live their life and do this crazy shit. I also have a friend that just wants to exist and is just living by the normal life that, society has set out for us. And I think all of that is okay. It's just how you want to live it. Like you can live a 9 to 5 happily. Don't be stressed and feel pressured that you can't be living a 9 to 5 to be happy, because you can. I know that 9 to 5s give you so much structure. When I had mine, Monday to Friday, finish at 5, come home, go gym, and then get on with my day. And I have a friend that has that and she absolutely loves it. She's thriving off that. So, everyone is different. Don't ever compare yourself to anyone else's life, because that will just create nothing but misery. Nothing but misery. I do think, the 20s are really hard to navigate because of this. And a big prime example would be every time I go on Facebook, someone's married, someone's had a kid. There's a new kid every time I open that app. Facebook scares me. Facebook scares me more than TikTok. Anything combined, because Facebook is where you know the people. And, that girl you went to school with is now having her 3rd kid. And you're like, oh my God, like I can barely even fathom having one right now. So this, I guess, leads on to the role of relationships when making memories and just in your life in general, right? So, as I said earlier, at the end of the day, you cannot wait for anyone to do anything with you. No one wants to do what you want to do as much as you do. You might actually find that rare person, but it's rare. You can't wait for that person to start the gym with you, to go traveling to Australia with you, to go jump out of a plane with you. No one is going to do that. And if they do, amazing, great. Hold on to that person very tightly, because that is rare. Okay, moving on. I want to talk about FOMO. I think this is huge. The making memories crisis, I'm going to call it. FOMO and anxiety. Right. FOMO, fear of missing out. The way to determine whether you're going to regret a decision or not is based on fear. you know that butterfly feeling of where you're terrified to go and do something? Chances are you should fucking go and do that thing. There have been so many countless times where I've almost not gone and done something. I went and I would have instantly regretted it if I did not go. So I'll give you an example. I joined a society at my uni. It's like a content creation thing. And I almost didn't go. I was so, I know I don't get scared, right? But I was terrified because it meant meeting new people and it meant going and walking into a room late, right? Because I had been debating whether to go to this thing for a good 15 minutes and it had already like started. There were already people in there. And I just thought, you know what? The room is building up and I don't want to be the last person in there. And then they all look at me and I'm like, hi guys, nice to meet you. And then I just came to realize it's bigger than that. It's bigger than just like embarrassing yourself or whatever it is that you think you're going to do. It's literally, I'm going to be making content with people that are like-minded like me and want to make content as well. And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Just fuck it. And you don't know what's going to come out of this thing. So like, let's just fucking go. I walked in and they were so happy. They're like, oh my God, hi. And like, there was a few people that knew me, I guess, because I make content as well. And I've made content in uni. So that put me at ease a little bit. You just end up meeting the most amazing people when you're scared of doing something. Like it just always ends up 9 times out of 10 ends up being the best thing you could have done for yourself. But yeah, the way to determine if you should go to something is if you're terrified of going and you're terrified of being embarrassed or you're paralyzed with anxiety. That is when you should go. There's been so many times I have called my friends and been like talking myself out of going to this event, and then it turns out my favorite rapper was at that event and I could have done so many networking things for my music videos and I didn't, and I regretted it. So I was like, God damn, wish I did that. But you know, you live and you learn. Well, I don't know if you quite learn, but I've only done it probably twice in my life where I've been like, fuck, I wish I went, because, you know, could have got some good connections out of that. But learn from me. Learn from me. I guess that's a form of self-sabotage as well. You really got to look deep into it, I guess, because if you're so close to your dream or whatever it is and you say no, you're scared. The feeling of regret is always going to be much worse than the feeling of anxiety for multiple reasons. Anxiety is just a short-lived thing in the moment. It will go away when you don't do something or when you avoid something. Regret is something that lives with you for life. Anxiety, you can sometimes push past it and get on with it. Other times you can't, that's fine. But you've got to remind yourself, and you have to experience regret to know what it feels like so you never feel that again. It's kind of ironic because regret almost helps your anxiety. It kind of pushes through that barrier that you have. So I would actually advocate you to go out there and feel that feeling of regret. And if you have felt that feeling of regret, remind yourself and then go do that thing that you want to do. That is the best advice I could give you on how to push past your anxiety and live your best life with your memories. So I'm now going to delve even deeper into overcoming your anxiety when traveling or doing the thing you want to do, right? I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but anxiety never goes away. It comes in waves, it comes back, but it never goes away, right? So it's something that you just have to understand how to deal with. You weren't put on this earth to just exist. If you feel like you were, fine, but you weren't put on this earth to just exist. Go out and explore the world. Something that helps me, a phrase that helps me if I am talking badly about the situation or myself to try and get myself out of it, is I'll then sort of, goes into fake it till you make it. I'll then sort of say to myself, just do it for the plot. It's for the plot. Like whenever I go out and I see my friends, the way they'll be able to determine if I'm anxious is if I'm like, it's for the plot. Travel and adventure. Let's talk about it. So, as I've got older I have spent less money on experiences, and I would say concerts were a massive thing for me. Concerts were my traveling and adventure. You know, everyone's different in that aspect, but I stopped spending money on that. And it's probably partly because the cost of living crisis, and I moved out and money has to go on bills and everything else, whatever, for the past however many years. But concerts were a massive thing for me. And if I do ever have the money, I will spend it on that. But then equally, I say that, and I have a really bad addiction to spending money on clothes. And I don't think this is talked enough about, because I have an addiction to going shopping and buying new things to change myself. When you look at it really deeply, it's because I have this sadness within me that I feel the need to go and shop for materialistic items to change myself, to make me feel better within myself, because I can't accept the way I am. I think that's deep down what it is. And also you get endorphins from shopping. That is something I need to try and get out of. And instead of trying to change who I am and bring this new style towards myself, I want to spend that money on making valuable memories, because my morals are sort of shifting in the sense of I don't want to spend my waking days picking myself apart anymore. I want to spend those times making memories and just embodying who I am. This is my vessel. This is my walking cell. Like, I just want to nourish it and give it so many memories and fun times and happiness and laughter, and surround myself with people. I don't want to spend it on things that are just gonna be useless one day. Anyway, that was a bit of a side note. But anyways, travel and adventure could mean anything for you. So the best experience I ever had wasn't even going abroad. It was, I'll give you a story time. I had just met my friend called Hannah at the time in college, and we were probably, a few weeks into knowing each other, or we did photography together. And I think the Chainsmokers were on in the background. And I think we just started vibing to it, and it was just sort of our thing. And then I looked up tickets and I was like, do you want to go? Like, I've just bought these tickets. Do you just want to go with me? And she was like, yeah. And I didn't know at the time, she was like me. She was super anxious, had such bad anxiety, but we both bit the bullet and we went. And it was sort of like one of the couple first times I'd ever been to London. It was at Alexandra Palace, and it was, we queued outside for hours in the rain, but it was the best time I had ever had in my life. And Chainsmokers wasn't even up there with my favourite artist at the time. I had seen Justin Bieber before that. I have seen Dave in my lifetime. Never in my life would I have thought I would say that Chainsmokers was the best concert I've ever been to. We managed to get right at the front of the barrier. Against all odds, Hannah, trigger warning of emetophobia, threw up so many times, still managed to find her way back to me at the front of the barrier. She went to paramedics. The paramedics found her and they wouldn't let her back in. And she was like, no, I'm good. Escaped the paramedics, came back in, barged her way through to the front, and still found me, and we still vibed to the end. It was honestly, even though I was alone for most of the fucking concert, it was the best thing I've ever done. And I think she could equally say that was one of the best memories that we've ever had together as well. It's always the times where you don't think anything of it and you just sort of wing it and go. And from there, our relationship just blossomed and we're literally sisters now. But yeah, your travel and adventure could mean absolutely anything. To anyone, it could be different. Don't feel the need to go travel the whole world if that's not for you. Just find your travel. Find your adventure. I do want to leave you on one more note. Obviously, this is a huge topic. I think it can be discussed about for a few episodes. It won't be the last time you hear about this topic on this episode if you do enjoy it, especially. But I want to leave you with this. I think at the end of the day, you just have to do what makes you happy. And I know that's a cliche thing, but if I have to say it 10 times for you to understand and for it to click, I'll have to say it 10 times. Just do what makes you happy. Don't stress about other people and what they want. Don't be that people pleaser. Everyone has their own individual happiness, whether it's having kids, whether it's just existing, whether it's having a 9 to 5, whether it's just on the weekends you like to go play golf. I don't know. It could be anything. As long as you're not waiting for other people to live your life, you're winning, mate. You're winning. I just want to reiterate that you are doing the best you can. And as long as you're doing that, again, you're winning. So take one day at a time. I know the 20s crisis of never doing enough is overwhelming. Live, laugh, laugh. Honestly, live, love, laugh. I know it's fucking cliche, but it's actually making a lot of sense now. All those home decorations of live, love, laugh, I really understand it now. Am I that mum? I never thought I'd see the day. But anyways, I hope you've enjoyed this episode. I know I have. I love talking about this stuff. If I've helped you in any way, I hope I have. Let me know what you want me to discuss next and discuss in the comments what you think of this whole thing. And maybe if I've said anything that resonates with you, do let me know. My DMs are open. And yeah, Pickles, you want to say goodbye? But goodbye. I will see you next Sunday on another episode of Girl Math. Goodbye.